Facebook. Hi Facebook, how are you? Hope everyone is well today, staying well and safe. I was just apologising to my friends on Instagram for the state of my hair. I did run into the shower and I thought I had more time. Anyway, so there you go. It is what it is. So we've got other things to worry about and crack on with, so I won't go on about that. But today was really exciting because I posted my first ever makeup tutorial. So I'm going to pop it on Instagram right after this. It is actually on the Liz Earle Wellbeing page and on YouTube. So if you don't yet subscribe to the Liz Earle Wellbeing YouTube channel, that is a really good place to go. Because also, you know, I don't know about Facebook, but Instagram, they've definitely been messing around with the content, because when I recorded that really interesting podcast with Dr. Louise Newson, the menopause doctor, and it was all about migraine and menopause and hormones, absolutely fascinating. And she went to find it after the Instagram live and she couldn't find it on her Instagram. I mean, and she was in it, you know, and she tags me all the time and we share stuff. So it's not as if we don't follow each other. So I know they normally say that they only actually show you selective content. So if you often interact with somebody like me, you know, you're making comments or you're liking stuff or whatever, then the chances are they'll show it to you quickly. But I really don't understand it. So anyway, we decided to kind of broaden the net a bit because I don't want to get caught out like that again. I don't want to be recording lots of really great stuff and then not have anybody able to see it. So obviously we'll carry on still doing Instagram and Facebook. I think seems to be a bit better behaved. So well done, Facebook. And obviously on Facebook, we can do all the comments and we can click on links. So Facebook is actually a really good resource to have. Because you can go there, you can watch it in your own time, you can reply to comments, you can click on things more easily than... But hey, Nikki's saying here, even Facebook's gone a bit wonky. I think maybe it's because, I don't know, are they trying to get us to pay for stuff? You know, we having to subscribe? I don't know, sorry, I can hear my not iPhone, my iPad pinging away here, so I'm just going to turn it down. This is my little... document that I get through from Amy, the lovely Amy on Facebook. Hello, hello. Amy is manning Facebook and she is my digital editor. So big high five, respect for Amy, because she's the one that loads all my stuff online. Obviously, we're all working remotely. We're all still... I don't know what we're going to do, actually. I'm probably hoping to head back to London, maybe to see my studios next week to kind of reopen so that I can get back to work from there. But we're just kind of working out really how that's all going to be. Maybe I can continue doing this there, because that would be nice, be in my studios. So anyway, come what may, I'm definitely going to be continuing in some way. But just to say, guys, I think it would be helpful, if you don't already, to subscribe to the YouTube, the Liz Earle Wellbeing YouTube channel, because they are totally separate. Because you know that Facebook own Instagram, or Instagram own Facebook, whichever way around. No, I think Facebook owned Instagram because they were bigger, weren't they, obviously? So the two are linked. So actually by having a third party in the mix is quite helpful. So if they do start messing around with their algorithms and things, we can all know that we can get stuff on YouTube, which is an independent company. And of course, Liz Earle Wellbeing, which is independent because it's just me. But we then have to rely on all these other platforms to share our content. So anyway, that was a long way around introducing my makeup tutorial, which was deeply scary, and I'm hoping to do more. I actually had a lovely comment from, I forget who it was, I'm so sorry, it was on Instagram, saying actually when we all get out of this, it's going to be so funny because there's going to be a whole group of us who look exactly the same, you know, who've been flicking their hair with the hair straighteners, putting their makeup on the same way, wearing the same clothes. This is one of my Spiga dresses. I might just stand up actually and show you, because I just put this on today. I just felt like having something a little jolly. Such a lovely colour, don't you think? So pretty. And I do like a nice wrap because it kind of ties round and you can kind of show your waist a bit. And I like a nice deep V and sort of floppy sleeves that make your arms look slimmer. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you because I just felt more cheerful when I put it on, these sort of clashing reds and pinks. So that is a Spiga, which is my friend Lucy, who has the ethical clothing company, and she is giving us, how much is she giving us off? I've written it down here. 10% off everything on her website, which is just great. And I know her margins are quite tight, so it's really generous. Thank you, Lucy. And you just have to use Liz Loves, all in capitals. I know Amy will pop the link on Facebook, and you guys on Instagram, hopefully you can remember. We're having so many nice partnerships actually with people. You know, when I find little brands and you know, offer to talk about them here, they very often can give us a discount code. So we're actually going to put those all together. And Amy on my digital team is going to create a special page on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website where you'll be able to go just to check. So if you know, because we've got so many now, from our friends at Travel Wrap who are giving us 10% off. We've got Asquith, the amazing lounge wear that I was wearing yesterday, that's 20% off. We've got Solcombe Dairy and Firetree, the lovely chocolate companies, giving us 10% off. So, you know, it's all really handy, but of course, as we grow and that kind of side of things just keeps snowballing a bit, it's hard to keep track. So we will put a separate space up. Actually, on, okay, so Dove House Mosaics, you have said you've missed it. Okay, so everything on Instagram is going to go, if you head to my bio, it's always what they say, isn't it? Link in bio. And what that means is on the main Instagram, kind of your homepage, where you see my face in the little round circle, and there's a few lines about me, a bit of blurb underneath. At the bottom there, you'll see a blue series of letters, and it's Linktree. And Linktree is a really clever thing, because if you click on that, it opens up literally a whole little tree of links, and you can just scroll down and click them. And we've put our Liz Loves right at the top, and then you can get, you know, click on the link to the makeup tutorial, or click on the link to a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about today, which I better crack on with, otherwise I'm not going to have time. Very quickly, I just wanted to finish off a couple of things that I did on my makeup tutorial, just to share with you. And I did this yesterday, actually. I was using the Bobbi Brown Art Stick. Many of you asked about this, and it's the shade, which I didn't share, is Dusty Pink. And I just use this. It kind of goes with everything, and it's really easy to use. You can just kind of smudge it on, and I use it on my cheeks as well. So I rub a bit just here, and I quite like doing cream blusher or whatever, matching lips, because then the two always go together. And I find that this is really easy to use. It's really portable. It doesn't leak everywhere. It's just very easy. It's very, very long lasting, so it's good value. And then I top that, especially at the moment, my lips are feeling a little bit dry. I just use one of my favourites, which is a purified lanolin, and I use that on chapped cuticles and fingernails. Something else I'd like to share with you. I have put this, I think this is also on YouTube. It's my manicure, lockdown manicure video, because I don't know about you, but there's no way I'm going to bother to paint my nails in all of this. I'm washing my hands all the time. I'm doing more chores. I'm out in the garden. There's just so much stuff going on that I need to do. So I'm keeping my nails really short, and I'm buffing them to kind of make them healthy, get rid of some of the ridges that we get as we get older. And this I talked about yesterday. This was the Ishka, the seaweed-based hand cream, which I also really love. It is made with organic seaweed that they hand harvest from the crystal clear waters of the Outer Hebrides. Isn't that amazing? And again, it's a really lovely little family-run British brand doing their best and producing great products. So they also have given us an offer code, by the way, which is Ishka, 15% off your first order, off anything. And this is really nice, and it comes in glass too. But what I wanted to share with you actually is something that I do on top of that. And I found these in my bedside cupboard last night. And this is such an old trick. But if you cover your hands in hand cream, like a really, really generous layer, and then you just slip these on overnight. And in fact, you can use a foot cream as well, or you can use your hand cream on your feet if your feet are really dry. And just go to sleep. And what this does is it seals in the body heat. And it might feel a bit weird, a bit of a passion killer, but if you're on your own, that's fine. Or just put them on later. Put all your hand cream on, leave it on, and the heat from your hands is just trapped in the nice cotton gloves. And seriously, after a few hours of that overnight, your hands are silky, silky smooth. So it's it's an old-fashioned trick, but it's a goodie. So that was something I wanted to share. The other thing I wanted to share today was there was a lot of chat on Instagram earlier today about my weight jacket, which I'm going to share with you. And again, I put a link to this. Amy, I'm sure, honey, you can pop a link up for our Facebook friends, but there's a link on Linktree on Instagram. This is actually quite heavy. This is 5 kilos. So it's, it is a workout in itself. And what you do is, if you are super hardy and fit, you can kind of wear this when you go for a run. Oops, mixed up my little rose. So you could wear this if you were out jogging, if you are the real kind of toughie. Oops, it's broken. Anyway, I think I've got it on the wrong way around. Anyway, this just clips on like that. And you can wear it all the time. You can wear it around the house. You can wear it as you walk up and down stairs. You can just kind of live with it. And what it does is it's giving you some extra weight. So it's very good for your muscles. It's very good for burning up extra calories. It's just a little cheat. And then actually you do feel light as a feather when you take it off. And Michael, God bless him, made me do push-ups wearing this. Yes. And it was a real struggle. I mean, normally I can just about do 50, okay. And, you know, I got to kind of 25 and it was like, this is really hard. But then, of course, you take it off and you're flying because it's like, oh, I'm light as a feather now. Anyway, so I think this is a really good investment. They're about £30 and it's, for me, has been a bit of a game changer in terms of a little cheat. So that was what I wanted to share with you. If you want to know the exercises that I've been doing, that's the Stronger, Slimmer You. I've printed mine out, actually. I keep mine in a folder. If you want to see what it looks like. I actually did it last summer. It's just full of exercises that I've done with Michael, talking me through lots of different things. All easy stuff we can do at home, which is really great. So you don't need exercise kit. You don't need anything. And then I also talk about recipes for weight loss and for strength gain, because it's not just all about being slimmer, although that's nicer. It is actually about being stronger and fitter. And I also talk quite a bit in here in the new version, and there's an update. So if you guys ordered it last year, you might want to go on to Earle Wellbeing and re-download it, because there's a slightly newer version that came out a few months ago. Actually talking about high-fat eating and keto. And this is relevant because I've got a question here that's come in. I think it was on Facebook. Saying, and this is from Margaret, Instagram, and she says, help, or rather my husband needs a bit of help. He's desperately trying to lose some weight. He's nearly 19 stone, wow, 6'2", with coronary artery disease and type 2 diabetes. Yeah, so that is, that's really quite an issue, especially as we know that men are more prone to having complications of COVID, and especially if you're overweight. So, and diabetes and metabolic disorders is all kind of implicated in that. So, you say, Margaret, he'd like to try a low-carb diet, but is struggling as to what he could eat. He's very much a bread, potatoes, cheese, crisp and beer man. Well, the cheese is okay. The cheese can stay. So 1 out of 5, you've got that. I think that the low carb, so you basically say any advice or a point to go to as to where we can go for low carb meal ideas. Well, Earle Wellbeing website is absolutely jam-packed with low carb because that's what I tend to do anyway. So they're not keto, I'm not super strict, but they do tend to be high fat, low sugar. But definitely take a look. I don't know if you're on Twitter. You know, Twitter is a strange beast, isn't it? I don't really enjoy Twitter because I find it really shouty, and I think people there can be very aggressive. And, you know, particularly for women, I think it's not necessarily a safe space to be if you have an opinion and want to talk about it. Whenever I seem to tweet anything, I just get kind of a barrage of stuff coming back. But having said that, I do like Twitter for following certain medics, because a lot of medics will put out their documents or research, and there's a couple of really good ones. There's actually a very good website called Diet Doctor, and there's another doctor called Dr. David Unwin, and actually I wrote about him. Let me just check on this. It's reminded me. This, if you've got this, I don't know, Margaret, if you're a subscriber, but this is the January-February issue of my magazine. If you have this, there's a whole section about low carb, high fat, low carb, keto eating, and in that I have written some resources. That's why it's always worth keeping your back issues to go back to. Yeah, here we go. So this was a piece that I wrote, which many of you may have seen, and as part of it I listed, if you can see here, some of the favourite doctors and medics and resources basically to go to for further information. So this doctor, yeah, I wrote about him here. Okay, he's called Dr. David Unwin, Unwin, and he's an award-winning NHS GP, and his clinical work is diabetes and high-fat, low-carb. And he basically helps his patients to eat low carb, and he's reversed type 2 diabetes, and he's really good on Twitter. But if you don't follow him on Twitter, just look him up online. I'm sure that he'll have a website and resources that you can look at, Dr. David Unwin. So lots of chat going on about this, lots of chat about how delicious bread is. Yeah, but bread, you don't have to cut it out altogether. I think just what I do is I have bread as an occasional treat. I treat it as something that I really enjoy and I savour. I don't just mindlessly scoff a sandwich without thinking about it. And I also always make sure that I have sourdough. So although sourdough has the same amount of carbs, it's actually giving good beneficial bacteria in a more digestible form. It's more easily digested. You don't get as much bloating or IBS or whatever. So anyway, gut health, as you know, is a whole other thing. And there's lots of gut health info on Liz Earle Wellbeing. We've redesigned our website, and so it's really easy to find your way around. Lots of free stuff, lots of really good stuff, lots of stuff on gut health, lots of stuff on menopause, of course, on hormone health, on eating well. Just coming back to comments here, talking about gut health here. This was from Celia on Facebook, saying, should I limit the amount of glasses of kombucha I drink each day? Well, I don't think so. I mean, it depends if you're excessive. I mean, we shouldn't be excessive about anything, should we? I think if you are drinking a reasonable amount, the sugar is digested by the bacteria in it, so it's a very low sugar drink. And studies show that it's got beneficial probiotics, so it's good for our gut. You will find that if you suddenly go from not having any fermented foods to suddenly having a lot, like you're suddenly drinking a lot of kombucha, that you may well get bloating. There's this phenomenon called SIBO, S-I-B-O, and that's when you can get this overgrowth of bacteria, good bacteria, because you've suddenly gone from 0 to millions or billions, trillions even of beneficial bugs, and that can cause digestive issues. So I think as long as you feel well, I think so much of this is, it's such an early science and a lot of it is still really being explored. And I think we have to go, if you'll pardon the pun, by our gut instinct. We have to judge how we feel. And I think if we are feeling well because we're doing something and our gut is enjoying it, it's like fitness, don't do it so that it's painful, do it within your capabilities and then build gradually, because you don't want to have injuries. Injuries are super boring. That's what Michael Gary always says to me. At the moment, he's not pushing me. I train with him on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday mornings, early in the morning. And he doesn't push it, apart from making me wear the flipping weight jacket, but he wouldn't make me do 50 push-ups wearing that. He would scale it back. And he said, look, we need to protect our immune system. We know that if you go out and, for example, run a marathon, marathon runners are at risk of having a lowered immune system because there is an immune response that kicks in when we do too much exercise. So we need to do some for sure, and we need to build on it. Anybody else do Joe Wicks in the morning? Don't we love Joe Wicks? Isn't he a honey? So my young ones do Joe Wicks at 9 o'clock on YouTube. And that's been really fun. We've worked out actually how we can connect the TV to YouTube, and that's really good. So we watch him and we jump around and we like that. So it's just about getting more active. And actually, before I finish on that, I just wanted to share a couple of things. Oh my goodness, I'm reading some comments here that have come in. Thank you. This is from Bridgman Liz on Instagram, who says, Liz, you cover so much in half an hour. Your daily half hour has been one of the best things about lockdown. It always gives me my daily inspo. Thank you so much for being real and doing these from your home. You're very, very welcome. It's really nice to have a community. Lovely one here also from Carrie on Baking, and that's spelt C-A-R-R-I-E, as in the name, Carrie. And you say, I really do prefer these more informal lockdown videos from Liz. They have a lovely, honest and personal touch that have encouraged me to try new things I'd never normally think of. Yeah, maybe. Go for that weight jacket. Yeah, stick it on. You'll be amazed. Thank you. I will miss watching these things when things go back to normal, and I've ordered both your yearbooks this week as a treat. Oh, well, I really hope that you enjoy those. And lastly, this is from Brevin Bratton, who says, loved your chat today. You're a natural. Miss them after lockdown. Thank you again. Just off to watch the makeup tutorial. Oh, excellent. Let me know what you think of that. P.S. You have literally become a household name these past few weeks here at my home, much to the amusement of my family. Well, hi to you all, and thank you for being with me. Now, that reminded me to talk about something. Yes, hay fever. Who else is suffering? Me, for a start. And this actually has a link back to gut health. So this is not just something I'm throwing in randomly, because there's a piece online on Liz Earle Wellbeing all about histamine and all about hay fever. So if you are suffering like me right now, please do go take a read afterwards, because it's really good info. But what I wanted to talk about here was the link with gut health and histamine intolerance, because for many, having a lot of fermented foods, so like the kombuchas and the kimchis and the kefirs and the sourdough breads and the, all that lovely fermented stuff, is not good for histamine. So it's not good for overloading if you are really bad with hay fever. And that's because they can actually build up this histamine too much, and it makes an overload within us. So there's a whole piece online about it, about histamine intolerance. So I started looking at this, as many of you know, a few weeks ago, and I'd hoped to record a bit of a podcast on it, but that kind of has had to be put to one side just for the moment while we sort out some technical bits. But I hope to be able to bring that to you, because it's a really interesting subject. But histamine intolerance is something that many of us may be suffering from without actually realising it. And it's also implicated in migraine. So this then made me really start to think, because as you know, my poor lovely Lily is really suffering and really struggling with that. And she is right now, and which is why she's not active and not visible on social media at the moment, because she's really having to consolidate on her own health. So as part of me as a mum trying to find the best things for her, I was really fascinated to learn more about histamine. So we've actually taken her off all histamine forming foods. And if you go to the Liz Earle Wellbeing website after this, don't go right now because I'm nearly finished, there is a whole piece on histamine, and there's a link there. And if you click to it, it's this amazing research lab that I found. I think it's in Germany. And it's all about histamine forming foods. And there's a whole chart of all the things that will form histamine and things that won't. So if you are somebody who has migraine, and this was something I learned from the National Migraine Centre, that even just taking a daily antihistamine can be really helpful for migraine. I've got a girlfriend at the moment who is trying it. So she gets really bad migraine, and she's been helped by taking estrogen, because that's also one of the triggers, low estrogen. So she's been using estrogen, and she's also now added in daily antihistamine tablets. And so far, so good. She hasn't had a migraine. So let's see. Could be coincidence, anecdotal evidence, but let's see. So Lily is not having any fermented foods at the moment. So I've taken her off all the kefir and all of that. But of course, me being me, I was really concerned about her gut health, thinking, well, come on, Lil, you need probiotics, you need your beneficial bacteria. So what can we do? So I did some more research. And see, I don't just sit here doing makeup tutorials all day. There's other stuff going on as well. So I did some research, and I found a non-histamine forming probiotic. And there's a link to it in the article that I've written. Okay, so if you are somebody that thinks that might be you, and you want to try a non-histamine forming probiotic, it's the only one I could find. I did a lot of research on the internet. Again, I think it's German, but I think it's on Amazon, or there's a very easy link anyway for it to get it. And I bought it, and I've given it to Lil. So I know that she's getting her beneficial bacteria, but she's not having her fermented foods at the moment. And she's not having things like aged foods, so aged cheeses, Parmesan, for example, which is delicious. And we've got Italian family connections, so we run on Parmesan. There's always Parmesan in the fridge. So I've taken her off that, so she can have fresh cheeses. So she can have things like fresh mozzarella or fresh pecorino or cream cheeses that are fresh, nothing that's aged or has any trace of mold or anything like that. So really, really, really fascinating. So I was talking about yearbooks. I forget who it was. Was it Linda who was saying that she'd bought both of my yearbooks, Carrie, this week? So I bought, as you know, I made these last week, I think. These are my Beauty Boost bars, which I made. These are in yearbook 1. Absolutely delicious. Really, really good. Full of nuts and seeds, and really good if you want a nice healthy snack. That's in yearbook 1. Which I'm sending out here, by the way, from the farm, because I've got a stash in the farm office. That's really good, so I sign them and send them out. So I made that. So this is my original one that I made. And so here we go. Here are my Beauty Boost bars. Here's my next batch of those. Really yummy. Do you see? Full of seeds. This guy's on Facebook. You can see. Really good. And that's held together with a little bit of olive oil. It's got some dates. It's just really, really nice. But when I looked up the histamine forming list of foods, several of them, like walnuts and peanuts, I'd used in these bars. So I thought, well, that's no good. So I went on and I made a list of all the things that I could use, all the nuts and seeds that were non-histamine forming. And I made these. So this is another box that lives in my fridge. And it has on it a label. I know it comes out backwards because that's the way we're filming it. But it says Lily's low histamine. So these are the ones for her. So these, you can see, they're just very slightly different. I actually made them with coconut oil. And they have things like chia, and I think they've got macadamia and, is it almonds? Can't quite remember. Anyway, if you go on to the website and you'll have a look at the list of histamine-forming foods. So I've been getting her to eat these instead. So we're just going to try it. So I just thought, do you know what, I'll mention that today because it might be helpful for people either with hay fever or who are getting issues with migraine. And actually today I'm really, I have to hope and pray that this is going to be helpful. So I've managed to track down a specialist doctor who specialises in histamine intolerance and also something that's implicated in migraine called mast cell activation disorder. And again, if you go onto the website, my website, you'll see there's a little bit about that, and you can do your own research if you want to and look up if you think that's something that might be affecting you. But maybe this whole mast cells are part of our immune system, so maybe that is part of the jigsaw, because if any of you listen to the podcast that I recorded all about migraine, you will realise what a jigsaw and what a difficult puzzle it can be to fix. So there are 2 podcasts actually up there if you're interested. One is by Dr. Katie Munro, who I recorded a couple of weeks ago, and she is a specialist migraine doctor, and she works at the National Migraine Centre, and they're doing online counselling, so you can self-refer, you can have online consultations with their doctors, which is really good. And she spoke about so much stuff that was helpful. So things like taking magnesium citrate, oh my goodness, coenzyme Q10, which is another really interesting nutrient that can be helpful for some migraine people. Lots and lots of different strategies. And she actually also mentioned the antihistamines, and that's where this kind of thread of research started. So do listen to that if you're interested. And Amy, I know, honey, you can pop the link, can't you, on Facebook if you haven't already. And the second thing is, following on from that, I then recorded a really personal podcast with Lily, and she talked very openly about her journey with chronic pain over the last, it's coming up to 2 years now. And just all the things. I mean, you wouldn't believe everything that she's tried. I mean, literally everything. Of course, all the complementary therapies, the acupuncture, the cranial sacrotherapy, the reflexology, the massage, you name it, cold water swimming, ice caps, all the nutritional supplements, nutritional therapies, and then going into all the medical stuff. I think she's had 9 different forms of drugs, all the beta blockers and all the different pain controls, the injectables that she's had now, the Botox that she has, like 50 Botox jabs all over her scalp. So much, so much. Hormones, you name it, we've been there. So it's really interesting, because if you suffer, or if you know of somebody who suffers, do please listen, because there may be something that she has talked about. She's got this funny little TENS machine thing that she straps to her forehead here that delivers electrical impulse, so that can help with the pain. So lots of things that she's shared. And yeah, the journey continues. So we're now looking at histamine. We're now looking at mast cell activation disorder. So I shall report back. And wouldn't that be amazing if that worked? It really would be so amazing. I kind of can't really think too much about it, because you try. She gets to hear about something new, and then we try it, and then it doesn't work, and the disappointment is really is really big. Anyway. So I am going to kind of come to an end now, but something else I just want to share very, very quickly. Yes, Dr. Tina Pears. She is the one that Lily is seeing, so let's see. I have found in my sortings out, because we're all clearing out cupboards, aren't we? You're going to have to pay attention to this. I'm sorry. Just put down whatever you're doing. If you want to get this back issue with the free issue, then you need to just pay attention because it's complicated. Okay, so I got into trouble with my team because I've been sending out this lovely back issue, which is a couple of years ago, spring 2018, and it's really great. It's got 25 amazing recipes in it, and I just love it. And it's all about vitamin D, and it's about having a spa at home, and it's lots and lots of good stuff. So I found some of these on the farm down here, and I started putting them in with back orders of the magazine as a little freebie. And of course, that got slightly complicated because the magazine subscriptions are handled by Warner's. So if you want to order a back issue with one of these free ones, you have to do it directly from Liz Earle Wellbeing. So that means going to the Liz Earle Wellbeing website and not clicking where it says buy the magazine at the top, because there's a little tab that says buy the magazine. If you click on that, absolutely great to do that, but that takes you to Warner's. So if you click on that, and that gives you the 30% deal for subscribing, which is brilliant. So grab that for sure anyway for subscribing, but that's for kind of now and then the future. If you want to get some of the back issues, you have to go to the little section on Liz Earle Wellbeing where it says shop. And if you click on that, then you get a little drop down, and it has things like books and e-guides and jewellery and whatever, all the things that I do directly. So if you click on that bit that says magazines, you'll come up with all the back issues. And they're the ones that I have here on my farm. I've got them in boxes in the farm. And the reason I tell you that is that I have found 17 copies of these. Okay, that's all I have, 17 copies. This is the January-February issue. So if you've been with me for a while and you subscribe, then you've probably got this already. But for those of you who don't, who are new, I just wanted to share it with you because all the things that I've talked about today, some of the fitness tips, some of the high-fat eating, the resources for keto or for the type 2 diabetes, obesity management, all of that, that's where you'll find them. But I do only have 17 copies. Go to the Liz Earle Wellbeing website, go to where it says magazines, and you'll see all the different back issues. And if you get those back issues, then I'm really happy to put one of these in. So if you're a recent subscriber and you think, actually, I'd quite like to have a look at some of the ones from last year or the year before, then do go, because they're all timeless. They've all got great recipes and great ideas in. And, at a time like this, when hopefully you've got a little bit more time to sit and read a magazine, that just spreads a little bit of joy. So I'll be back with you tomorrow. Same time, same place. I'm not quite sure where I'll be in the house. It depends where the Wi-Fi is working well. Might be back down in the kitchen. If you've got a comment or a question, please leave it below. I don't do direct message. I'm sorry, Instagram. I can't cope with it. It's just one thing too many. But I do reply to comments. And yeah, go to YouTube. Please check out my makeup tutorial. Let me know what you think. I hope it's not too awful. But if you like it, I'll do more. Okay, so let's keep in touch. Let's talk. Let me know. Sending you lots and lots of love. Have a great day. Bye-bye.